Namaste, Vanakkam. I'm Surya. We are going along the origin of religious violence in India in the past 2 days. Let me continue on that. If you have any questions regarding that, you can leave your comment below. Okay, let's get into the history. However, Hindu-Muslim conflict has begun mainly during 711 by Umayyad Caliphate in Sindh, which is a present-day Pakistan. Umayyad Caliphate is a dynasty in Sindh. Umayyad Caliphate is a dynasty who were more predominant during 661 AD to 750 AD, when there was Islamic expansion in the Indian subcontinent. As said, destruction of temples had been carried out. To illustrate it with paradigm, Somnath temple is much viable. About 986 AD, the Muslim army of Sultan Mahmud and Amir Sabuktigin reached Punjab, where Jaipala kingdom was there. The highlight here is, after several battles with those Muslims, the Hindu king Jaipal sent a letter to Sabuktigin that let us not make a war. But the reply he got from Sabuktigin's son is, no, until we obtain a complete victory suited to my father's desire for the honor of Islam and Muslim, we won't withdraw. So for which the king Jaipal again replied that you have seen the impetuosity of Hindus and their indifference to death. If you insist on a war in the hope of obtaining plunder, elephants and slaves, then you leave us no alternative way but to destroy our property, take the eyes out of our elephants and commit mass suicide, so that all that will be left to you to conquer is stones and dirt, dead bodies and scattered bones. For this, Amir Sabuktigin then promised peace in exchange for a ransom. And he received it. Though it is notable that Sabuktigin marched out and destroyed the homes of Hindus around Lamhagan, his invasion was beyond measures. He later claimed that his victories in the name of Islam. Let's look deep down in the Islamic rulers. First, that who strikes is Mahmud of Ghazni. He was Sultan, which means a Muslim sovereign. He invaded the Indian subcontinent, which is a present-day Afghanistan, during 11th century AD. He plundered Indian temples, which includes Mathura, Dwaraka, and others. He also destroyed the third Somnath temple and killed around 50,000 Hindus around the temple vicinity. 50,000, not so simple. He he destructed the Shivalinga and stripped of its gold too. So around 17 raids have been carried out under him into India. Now in the 12th century, Muhammad of Gauri is notable. He destroyed the major Hindu pilgrimage site Varanasi. He continued on his plundering and destructive activities much around northern part of India. Meantime, Delhi Sultanate reign was begun, which was ruled by Muhammad of Gaur and Ghazis. The reign extended around 320 years. Then comes Qutbuddin Aibak. You know that. You know him, right? Maybe. In the 13th century, under his reign, the first mosque in India was built in Delhi called Quwat al-Islam. It was built by destructing 20 Hindu and Jain temples. Now, in the 14th century, Alauddin Khalji, you might have heard about this. Under his reign, religious violence has become so common. Most importantly, the new Muslims who rebelled in his reign were crushed with mass executions. Nusrat Khan, who is the general of Alauddin Khalji, seized all Hindu women and children and placed them in prison. Sometimes he had the wives of suspects too, and the children were cut into pieces. Malik Kafur, another general of Alauddin Khalji, pursued two violent campaigns into South India, which includes Deogiri in Maharashtra, Warangal in Telangana, and Madurai in Tamil Nadu. And the most sacred temple considered by Vaishnavites in Sri Rangam in Tamil Nadu had been invaded by Malik Kafur. He murdered the priest and plundered the treasury of the temple. Then comes Tughlaq dynasty. From the early mid to late 14th century, in their reign, Ulugh Khan executed about 12,000 Hindus at Sri Rangam in Tamil Nadu. The shrine was desecrated in the temple under the third ruler of Firoz Shah Tughlaq of Tughlaq dynasty. Execution of Hindus who built temples and imprisonment of Hindus who didn't pay taxes were carried out. In the end of 14th century, Turko-Mongol ruler Timur invasion of Delhi was carried out under systematic slaughter, and other atrocities on large scale were noticed. He killed 100,000 Hindus as well as many Muslims. It was more specifically called as Timur's massacre. You might have heard about it. After Timur left Delhi, sultans enforced their power there. In Kashmir, in the early 15th century, Sikandar Shah Miri unleashed the religious violence there. During his period, many Hindus converted to Muslim and many left Kashmir and many were killed. Okay, then what happened after the massacre of Timur's Sayyid dynasty? Came through. But only for historical evidence, some historical evidence have been found on religious violence. A historian also said that at the period of Jalandhar was taken as an example. It was retaken by the Hindus and the Muslims were imprisoned. Historian Yahya bin Ahmad states that the ruthless, unclean infidels has no respect for Muslims. That's really sarcastic. Just an imprisonment, not a massacre as before. Okay, it's a bad. Finally comes the Lodi dynasty. Around early 15th to early 16th century, religious violence continued under the ruler Sikandar Lodi. That's a little story in his reign. I'll say you. Once a Brahmin was preaching that both God mentioned in Hinduism and Islam is same, but the approach and the path of reaching them is different. He attracted a huge mass of both Hindus and Muslims. But Lodi's general asked whether the pluralism of God is fine with Islam to scholars, for which scholars suggested to convert the Brahmin to Islam, but he refused. So, you know what would have happened there. He was killed brutally. So this is all about, this is all about religious violence in India. Today, you should decide what's justice, what is not. Because I believe justice is beyond religion and bonds. So why I say all these things, you should know the history of religious violence. I see many young people ignoring the religion, but somewhere by someone, a kind of religion is indirectly always enforced to someone's mind. I said yesterday itself, religion is not religion is a standard of living. It may also shoot atheism and communism. So yes, choose a good standard of living. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe, like, share, and don't forget click the bell icon.